The calm before the storm, the cold black of space was quiet. Stars twinkled far away, like tiny diamonds scattered on a dark cloth. But near the edge of the human star system, a terrible storm was about to break. A storm made of metal, fire, and death. A vast fleet of ships hung in the void. 9,900 of them. They were large and small, fast and slow. Each ship was armed with weapons that could destroy entire planets. This was the invasion fleet, sent by an alien empire that wanted to crush humanity. In the largest ship, the flagship, the alien commander stood tall. His skin was pale, and his eyes were sharp. He looked down at the battle map glowing in front of him. "Soon," he said in a cold voice, "we will finish what we started. The humans will fall, and their world will be ours." Around him, his officers smiled and nodded. They believed this war was already won. No one had ever faced such a massive fleet before. 9,900 ships. The humans were weak. They would be crushed like bugs, but in another place. Not far away, the human fleet was ready too. Not as big, not as many. Only a few hundred ships stood between the invaders and Earth. Yet, inside the human ships, the soldiers were calm and focused. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of her cruiser. She looked out at the dark emptiness ahead. "They have numbers," she said quietly to her second-in-command. "But we have something they don't. We have heart. We fight for our home." Her voice was steady, but inside, her heart beat fast. She knew this battle would be the hardest of her life. The fate of millions rested on their shoulders. The human fleet commander, Admiral Marcus Lee, moved from ship to ship through the communications network. His calm voice gave orders, but behind his eyes was a fire. "Prepare weapons," he told his captains. "We fight smart. Use everything we have. Don't let fear win." In the moments before the attack, the silence was thick. No one spoke. Much. Every crew member checked their stations. Every pilot gripped their controls tightly. The only sound was the low hum of the ship's engines. Suddenly, alarms sounded. Red lights flashed. The invasion fleet was moving forward. The first ships crossed the line into human space. Captain Reyes took a deep breath and looked at her crew. "This is it," she said. "Remember why we fight. For Earth, for our families, for the future." The enemy fleet spread out like a great wave ready to crash down. Thousands of ships filled the viewports, their weapons glowing menacingly. The humans felt small against this massive force. But humans are not easy to break. As the two fleets closed in, a strange feeling filled the air. The enemy was confident, but the humans were ready. They had trained hard. They had built secret weapons. They had hope. On the flagship of the invaders, the commander raised his hand. "Attack!" he shouted. In a flash, beams of light and explosions burst across space. The battle began, but this was only the start. Somewhere deep inside the human fleet, a small group of engineers prepared a secret weapon. It was a gamble, something no one else knew about. If it worked, it could change the whole war. Captain Reyes did not know if she would live to see the end, but she was ready to fight to the last breath. The calm before the storm was over. The stars would soon burn with fire and courage. The story of this battle, of 9,900 ships and only 18 survivors, was about to begin. The first clash. Blood in the void. Silence of space shattered like glass. The first shots flew across the dark sky. Bright beams of energy cut through the blackness, lighting up the void with flashes of red and blue. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers, and ships on both sides shook violently. Captain Ayla Reyes gripped the control panel tightly. Her cruiser rocked as enemy fire hit the shields. "Shields holding," she shouted. "Return fire. focus on the lead attackers. The human ships moved fast and sharp, weaving through enemy fire. They were fewer in number, but fought with skill and courage. Each human pilot knew the cost if they failed. The alien commander watched his battle map nervously. "They are stronger than we thought," he growled. "Increase firepower, crush them." But humanity had an unexpected weapon, a new kind of drone, small but deadly. From hidden bays on the human ships, hundreds of tiny drones launched silently into space. They swarmed the enemy like angry bees. The drones attacked enemy engines and weapons. Enemy ships exploded one after another, their crews shocked by the sudden strike. On the bridge of Captain Reyes's cruiser, a technician smiled. "Drones doing damage, Captain. Enemy fleet breaking formation." The alien fleet wavered. Confusion spread quickly. The massive wave they had planned became a storm of chaos. But the aliens were not defeated yet. The commander ordered his elite. Strike force to attack the human command ship. Admiral Marcus Lee's flagship shook under heavy fire. The bridge filled with alarms and sparks. "We need backup." Lee shouted, "Hold your positions, everyone." Despite the chaos, human crews stayed calm. They worked as one, each person fighting for survival and victory. Suddenly, a huge explosion rocked the enemy flagship. The alien commander stared in disbelief as his great ship started to fall apart. "How?" he whispered. "How are they doing this?" The secret weapon, human creativity and bravery, was turning the tide. But the battle was far from over. Somewhere behind the front lines, Captain Reyes saw a shadow in her sensors. Another wave of enemy ships was coming, bigger and faster. She clenched her fists. "Prepare for the next attack. We will not give up." As the battle raged on, both sides lost many ships. The void was stained with fire and silence. Only one thing was clear. This war would be remembered forever. The turning point. Against all odds, the battle had raged for hours. The vast battlefield in space was littered with broken ships and burning wrecks. The alien invasion fleet was shrinking fast. Their once endless numbers were now a scattered shadow. Captain Elena Reyes sat quietly on the bridge of her cruiser. Her eyes scanned the star-filled blackness, watching the enemy retreat. But she knew this was not the end. Suddenly, her console beeped. A secret message from the human scientists came through. "Activate Project Dawn," the message said. The crew looked confused but alert. "What is Project Dawn?" her second-in-command asked. Reyes smiled slightly. "You'll see soon. It's our last hope." Deep inside the fleet, hidden within the cargo bays of several ships, a strange weapon stirred. It was not a big cannon or a massive missile. It was small and quiet, an advanced swarm of AI-controlled nanobots, designed to cripple enemy ships from the inside out. As the aliens regrouped for a desperate counterattack, the human fleet launched Project Dawn. Invisible clouds of nanobots spread out through space, slipping past shields and defenses like ghosts. They entered the enemy ships silently. Inside the alien ships, systems began to fail. Engines sputtered and died. Weapons jammed. Panic spread among alien crews. The alien commander cursed. "What sorcery is this? How do they fight us like this?" Meanwhile, human pilots pushed forward, striking hard where the enemy was weakest. Admiral Marcus Lee's voice crackled over the comms. "This is our chance. Push the attack. Break their ranks." Captain Reyes ordered her ship to follow. "All units, focus fire on their command ships. End this now." In the chaos, a young pilot named Jake Chun saw an enemy destroyer firing on a group of human transports. Without orders, he veered his fighter straight into the enemy's path. "Cover those ships," Jake shouted. His small fighter dodged lasers and missiles as he fired back fiercely. His bold move saved the transports, buying precious time. Back on the flagship, The alien commander's frustration grew. His fleet was breaking, their invasion slipping away. But humans did not celebrate yet. They knew every victory came with a cost. Captain Reyes looked at her damaged ship. "We are winning," she said softly. "But this war is far from over." The turning point had arrived. Against all odds, humanity was fighting back. Asterisk. Aftermath. Counting the cost, the battle was over. But the silence that followed was heavy and cold. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, staring out at the stars. The once bright battlefield was now a graveyard of drifting wrecks. Fires burned on human ships, and many were badly damaged. The cost of victory weighed heavily on everyone. Status report. Admiral Marcus Lee's voice came through the comlink, calm but tired. "Shields are down on 2 cruisers," replied Reyes. "We've lost nearly 50 ships. Casualties are high. Supplies running low. Across the fleet, crews worked frantically to repair what they could. Medics rushed through corridors, tending to the wounded. The victory felt hollow. In a quiet corner of the flagship, a group of soldiers gathered. Some faces were pale, others stared blankly. They had seen friends fall. They had faced death and survived, but at what price? The alien commander's voice echoed faintly through intercepted signals. His fleet was shattered. Only 18 ships had escaped. He was angry and scared. The invasion was a failure, but he was not defeated. Back on the human ships, tension rose. Some commanders argued about the next move. "We must finish them now," one officer said sharply. "They will come back stronger if we wait." "We are too weak," another replied. "We need to regroup and repair. We cannot risk another full battle yet." Captain Reyes listened but kept silent. Inside, she knew the truth. Humanity had won this battle, but the war was far from over. Suddenly, the fleet's sensors detected a strange signal. It was weak but steady, coming from deep space. "Commander, we are picking up an unknown transmission," the communications officer said nervously. Reyes frowned. Could it be a trap? Admiral Lee's voice was steady. "Prepare for anything. This war has only just begun." As the fleet moved cautiously forward, every crew member felt the weight of what had happened and the fear of what was still to come. The price of survival was high, but humanity's spirit was unbroken. The final strike against the darkness stretched across the stars as the enemy's last forces gathered for one final attack. Only 18 ships remained from the once mighty invasion fleet. They were battered but desperate. "Captain." Alana Reyes stood on her bridge, watching the enemy ships approach. Her crew was tired but ready. "This is it," she said quietly. "We fight not just for today, but for every tomorrow." Admiral Marcus Lee's voice came over the comms, steady and strong. "All units, prepare for the final battle. Hold the line. Show them the strength of humanity." The human ships formed a tight wall, their weapons glowing with power. Every pilot knew this fight could be their last. Then, suddenly, a strange signal appeared on the scanners. A small fleet, unknown and unexpected, moved toward the battle. "Unknown ships detected," the radar officer announced. "They're coming to assist us." The alien commander narrowed his eyes. "What is this? Reinforcements? Impossible." The new fleet was not human, but they fought alongside humanity. Their ships were sleek and fast, their weapons strange but deadly. Captain Reyes's heart quickened. "An ally. We don't know who they are, but we need their help." The battle began in full fury. Lasers sliced through space. Missiles exploded in fiery bursts. Human and ally ships moved together in perfect harmony. The enemy fought fiercely, but they were outmatched. One by one, their ships fell, until only a few remained. Amid the chaos, a young pilot named Jake Chun took a dangerous path through enemy fire to protect a damaged human cruiser. His bravery inspired others. On the enemy flagship, the commander realized defeat was near. With a roar of anger, he ordered a retreat as the last alien ships fled. The human fleet cheered quietly, tired but victorious. But Captain Reyes knew this peace was fragile. "We won this battle," she said. "But the war is just beginning." The survivors, anew dawn the battle was over. The stars were quiet again, but the sky was heavy with the scars of war. Only 18 enemy ships had survived the fierce fighting. They drifted away, damaged and defeated, their lights flickering. Like dying stars, they disappeared into the vastness of space, far from human reach. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the deck of her cruiser, looking at the horizon of space. The cost of victory was clear. Many of her friends were gone. Many ships were broken or lost, but humanity still stood strong. Across the fleet, crews worked to repair their ships. Medics cared for the wounded. Engineers searched for ways to make their weapons and shields better. They were tired, but they had hope. Admiral Marcus Lee addressed the fleet. "We have won a great battle," he said, "but our journey is not over. The enemy will recover. We must prepare for whatever comes next." Among the crew, there were whispers of fear and doubt. Some wondered if peace would ever come. Others believed that humanity's strength had changed the galaxy forever. On Earth, news of the victory spread quickly. People celebrated cautiously, knowing the war was not finished. But for the first time in a long time, there was light in their eyes. Captain Reyes received a message from an unexpected source, an unknown alien race. They offered to help humanity rebuild and defend their home. The captain smiled. "Maybe. We are not alone in this fight after all." As the sun rose on a new day, humanity prepared for the future stronger, wiser, and ready for the challenges ahead. The story of the invasion fleet, the fierce battle, and the 18 survivors became legend. But the real story was just beginning. Legacy of war. The story told years had passed since the great battle. The stars were calm again, but the memory of the war lived on in every corner of humanity's reach. Captain Elena Reyes, now a veteran and a leader, stood before a group of young recruits. Her eyes shone with pride and sadness. "You are the future," she told them. "But remember those who fought before you. The 9,900 ships, the fierce battle, and the brave 18 survivors. Their sacrifice gave us this chance." The stories were told again and again. Songs, books, and holograms showed the courage of humans facing impossible odds. Children learned about the battle as a lesson, not just of war, but of hope, strength, and unity. Admiral Marcus Lee had retired, but his name was honored across the galaxy. He had led humanity through its darkest hour and into a new era of peace and power. The alien fleets that once threatened Earth were no more a shadow in the night. Some former enemies had become uneasy allies. The galaxy had changed forever. But the war had also left scars. Families grieved lost loved ones. Worlds bore the marks of battle. Humanity understood the true cost of freedom. Captain Reyes looked up at the stars, feeling the weight of history. "We fought not just to survive," she whispered. "We fought to live, to grow, and to reach for the stars." And so, the legacy of that great invasion lived on a story of courage against impossible odds, of hope in the darkest times, and of the unbreakable spirit of humanity the stars would never forget.